Welcome to the Process Podcast.
From new agent to broker owner.
My name is Travis McClure. This is my co-host, Preston Guyton. Welcome to the Process Podcast. This is Travis McClure and my co-host, as always, Preston Guyton.
Good morning, buddy.
Preston, how you doing, man?
Good.
How you feeling today?
Good, man. I rucked this morning, and then I ran yesterday.
5K a day, still going strong?
5K a day.
How many days you up to that you've done it?
Well, I got a little hiccup, so 7 days, roughly.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's consistent.
But I'm going to do it until, I don't know. I mean, I'll continue to do it until I'm starting to get a little bit tired.
That much running. I mean, what's that, about 20-ish miles a week, 21, 25 miles a week, somewhere in that range?
Yeah. I mean, no, it's 25 to 30 because like yesterday I did 4.5 miles.
Right.
Today I did 3.5. I'll still do a longish run this weekend. I won't do like 10 miles, but I'll do, because, right around 5 miles, I start to get that little groin twinge that I start feeling. So
Yeah.
I'll probably do 6 miles this weekend, one day. So, and then I got to do, usually long day, I take the next day off for this. One thing I'm doing though is I'm not lifting as much. I'm going to lift 3 days a week, but on the ruck days, I'm doing 50-50-50 where I have the ruck on and doing 50 pull-ups, 50 push-ups, and 50 air squats.
Good. That's a good consistent habit you're building there around the 5K a
So
day.
tomorrow I may walk, but it's still going to be a 5. What I've noticed is it was crazy part is, in doing this, by the time I leave to go to work in the morning, I've already got 8,000 steps roughly.
Yeah. That's good stuff.
Between 7,000 or 8,000 steps. The longer, like the 4.5 mile run, I had over 8,000.
I think we're talking about doing a Memorial Day ruck as a leadership team. A couple of the guys have purchased Go Ruck bags.
Yeah.
We'll
see. The mileage that you said might be a little bit different than what we actually do.
Could just be me and Preston out there.
Yeah, it might. I might, with that many miles, I might carry the 20 pound. I usually carry a 30. Sometimes I'll add an additional 10, but I usually carry 30. I don't know if I want to carry 30 or 40, 12 miles.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever. It's just your shoulders. It'll get better. Your feet.
It's good for you. Well, today's episode, we're going to jump into follow-up. And obviously, I've worn the appropriate t-shirt today, the Follow-Up Boss t-shirt. I thought we had the same shirt on for a minute, but yeah, you have the Easy Home Search shirt in the same color. Superman over here.
So really, they're actually the same t-shirt because
same brand.
The same brand. Because first Follow-Up Boss shirt I got, I'm like, man, I really like this shirt.
Yeah, and it's an extremely comfortable shirt.
So I ordered the same type of t-shirts for Easy Home Search.
Yeah. What for those of us buying marketing materials out there, what brand of shirt is this? Do you know offhand?
It's Canvas. I don't know.
Canvas?
Emily, what is that? The brand? Bella, maybe Bella and Canvas or something like that.
Bella and Canvas?
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, they wash well. So if you're making shirts for your company or whatever else, they wash well. I don't know what the cost of them, but I know we wear them just about every single day around here. And they're extremely comfortable.
Super comfortable.
Yep. So I endorse that product.
Yes.
But let's get into follow-up. We were kind of messaging back and forth yesterday about a topic and thinking back to Connection Summit, one of the takeaways, I heard over and over again from different speakers and just talking to different agents was the agents that are doing well right now are doing well because they have the best processes in place around follow-up.
Yes.
And, I kind of went back through some of my notes and some of the things I'm seeing working for agents and, just kind of wrote down what I call like the 5 principles of follow-up right now, like 5 things you should really analyze around follow-up. So I want to unpack all those, Preston. So number 1, I think like the easiest thing I was taught very early on in my real estate career was anytime you talk to somebody, like you pull up their window in the CRM, let's say I'm talking to Preston, I call him, if he answers or he doesn't answer, whatever happens, before I close Preston out and move on to the next person, create a new task.
Yes.
Right? How often do you think, Preston, you should talk to somebody in your database?
I mean, it depends on where they're at,
Yeah.
but I would say if there's somebody that you're having communication with and they're further out, I would say at least once a month. You know what I mean? And that's somebody further out. Like
Yeah.
if you get into that within 6 months, I would say twice a month.
Hmm.
And then obviously if they're hot, somebody that's coming into town in 60 days, I would at least once a week. And then
What if someone was like, "Hey, we're not ready for like 2 years"? That happens
I
sometimes.
would still say once a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have that automated piece, but
Hmm.
everybody knows it's automated. So, and it could be as simple. When I say reaching out, I mean it could be as simple as sending out a personal email or sending out, and really I would make it some type of contact, maybe a personal text or a phone call, just picking up the phone and giving them a call because they're getting hammered, right? They're
Yeah.
they're they're getting emails from multiple people, they're getting calls from multiple people. But the thing about it is, when you think about it, just staying consistent. I mean, with follow up, the one thing that we always talk about is staying consistent. So, nothing matters if you're not staying consistent. Like the principles don't matter because if you're not staying consistent, you're not going to win.
I'll tell you one thing I've learned, and we started doing this around the ISA team is, let's say we talk to somebody and they're a year away, and we still like to talk to them, right? Like figure out, well, what is it that you are looking for so we can update your search,
Yep.
right? Make sure we're sending you the right properties. And Preston will tell me this and tell me that. And we obviously, we put it in our notes and we go on the back end and we update their search. Well, what we do is then 30 days later, you create that task, send them a text message,
Yep.
right? Hey, Preston, just wanted to check in, see how the properties look that we're sending you.
Yeah.
You said you were looking for 1, 2, 3, right? Like make it personal that we listen to you. To me, that's what we're going to talk about in the next principle, but it creates that little commitment that you fulfilled on, right? Like I
Yep.
said, I was going to update your search. I did. Hey, just want to make sure that these are good for you.
Yeah, for sure.
So, and that brings me to the second principle, which is in every conversation, look to create some sort of commitment. I call them either a micro commitment or a macro commitment. And a micro commitment would be just as simple as updating their search and reaching back out to them, or just setting the next time you're going to talk to them, right? Whether it be 30 days from now, 60, hey, I'm going to give you a call in April, check in with you guys, and we'll make plans for you coming down in May.
Yeah.
Right. Micro commitment. Where a macro commitment would be, we're going to meet in person and go look at houses. Right. So try and end every conversation with some sort of commitment. And what that does long term is, I said I was going to do something, right? And then I did it. What's that build between you and I? If I said I was going to do something, then I did it.
Yeah. I mean, respect and
Trust.
Your trust you're listening to, for
Yeah.
sure.
So that those little deposits in the trust bank build up over time and get you to that macro commitment with that person. Third principle, Preston, would be before you sit down and make follow-up calls. And I'm not talking like fresh prospecting calls, right? Because when you make prospecting calls, anything could happen, right?
Yeah. Sure.
But when I'm calling somebody back, I have notes, right? I have something in there where like I have a foundation of, we've already spoken, we've already talked. Set some sort of goal for the call, right? And I'll give you an example. Like I'll have a good conversation with somebody, Preston, and they'll say, hey, you know what? We're going to be ready this summer, right? And or in June or July, we're ready to make a purchase. But right now it's like February or March, right? Not really necessarily ready to talk to an agent. Like they kind of even said like, hey, we're still just kind of in the planning phase. We got this going on with our other house, this or that. What I do is I put in the notes, hey, next time I talk to him in 30 days, I want to hand them off.
Yeah.
Right. So I know going into that call, I have a clear cut goal of, how I want to see that dialogue go so I can make that handoff to the agent.
Yeah. And, with that too, and planning that call or planning to reach out with that person, when you talk about the notes, it's important to, look back at the notes and see how you can make a connection. Like, hey, this person wants a big yard, or they, talk about their family or talk about their kids. And, if you've taken good notes and you listen to what they said. So when you do make that call, don't make it just about the house, check on and see how everything else is going. Because, if you listen to people, get them talking, they're going to tell you what's important to them.
Yep.
You just got to give them the opportunity to speak and just be a good listener. And then when you do reach back out to them, make sure you bring some of those things up.
Yeah. And you can even frame a question that way. You hear Terry Watson? You know who that is?
Mm-mm.
He's a speaker. He does a lot of like real estate speaking. Look him up, Terry Watson. But he does a whole talk on like figuring out what's important to people. He says like that's like the number one thing you should do in any like new relationship with anybody, business or personal,
Yeah.
is ask a question like that. Like on a listing appointment, you ask, "Hey, what's most important to you about getting your house sold?"
Yeah.
A buyer conversation, what's most important to you about the next house that you buy?
Oh yeah.
And then when stuff starts going a little crazy, right? Like maybe the client starts doing things that are different than what they said, you bring it back to that. Hey, Preston, you told me what was most important about the next house you buy is a big yard. This house that you said you're interested in doesn't have a big yard. I just want to
Yeah,
make sure we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And you just frame that as well. Like what do you like most about the house you're in,
Yeah.
that you're selling? So
Right.
I mean, then you'll find out exactly what they're looking for, and you'll find out if they're going to settle for something different or not.
Yeah. Next one, Preston, number 4 of the follow-up principles is a pretty easy one. To me, it's like a no-brainer, but have a CRM and then make sure you're actually putting tasks in that CRM or calendar reminders in that CRM. I see a lot of things like with agents, either they have the CRM and they're not putting the tasks in, or a lot of times we meet agents, especially, coming from other companies and stuff like that, and they don't have one.
Yeah. I mean, the thing with CRM is staying consistent. Like,
right.
There's you could have a CRM, but it's not going to do everything for you. So like you said, you got to stay consistent with the tags, make that as what we talk about is making that as part of your daily ritual in the morning. Well, making sure you go in and update calls and do everything within there first thing in the morning. But yeah, I mean, it makes everything so much easier. Like if you use the CRM, if you have everything integrated the way it is, your emails are coming there, your calendar's in there, all of those things are in there that you just go into that one portal and you could do all those things. And your contacts are in there, the ones that are hot, the ones that are coming soon, all that stuff is all in one place. And the big thing for us is we're actually signing up for a product called Sisu. I used to use it at our previous company, CRG. And it's come a long way since then, but what it does, it makes even Follow Up Boss more of that hub where you can get to CSUs from within Follow Up Boss, all the transactions and all that stuff. The reporting goes in there. Super excited about that, but just to make it where agents don't have to go elsewhere. Everything's right there. If they really want to have everything within their CRM, they could do it. They can make the calls, the calendars there, the appointments are there, the text messages there. So there's really not a need to go outside of there unless they want to.
I tell you, we've had this talk on this show before, but I think it's worth bringing back up. If I was an agent shopping for companies right now, one of the contributing factors on the decision I made would be what's their CRM.
Yeah.
Like I would ask that if you're an agent listening to this and you're out shopping for companies, you got to ask that question. Like, hey, what's the CRM you offer your agents? Can I preview it? Is there a place I can get some information on it? Like Google it, look it up, read the reviews, like Follow Up Boss. What are some of the other big ones, Preston, out there?
I mean, a lot of franchises, a lot of companies will have their own like dedicated CRM, but what I see and I see a lot of it, whatever company they're with, you see so many of the bigger teams, successful teams, they don't even use the CRM that's given to them.
They pay for their own. Yeah.
Yeah. They get their own, they're set up their own. So, I mean, there's a lot, Sierra Interactive has one that's connected to an IDX. Real Geeks has one that's connected to an IDX.
Boomtown is another one.
Boomtown, Sync, Brevity. There's a lot of other ones. You could continue going on and on, but
I've seen some bad ones out there too. That company.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really bad ones. I mean, there's some things that they don't stay updated. The good thing I like about Follow Up Boss, I tell people, is they are dedicated to being a great CRM. They're not trying to be an IDX feed. They're not trying to be anything else. They want to play nice with all these other softwares.
And it's easy to use.
Yeah. And simplicity, it's set up. I mean, rows, columns. I mean, it's left to right. It's very easy to use. And that's a big reason why, not only because of the functionality, just because of the usability and to be able to train somebody in it. And it's, most people could learn it pretty quickly. So that's, I mean, is it something that you're going to have to pay for? Is important, or is it something that's given to you? Is it given to your team? So those are questions to ask for sure.
Yeah. And I think on the flip side of that, because we have a lot of broker owners and team leaders that listen to this, in recruiting agents, what are you offering? Is the CRM you're offering, is it helping your recruiting conversations, or are you at a disadvantage? I think you definitely have to look at that. I think follow-up being so important in this market, that's a tool that needs to be offered and needs to be looked at in your company or in your business as a single agent.
You know, and maybe that's just me being stubborn, but it's just hard for me to believe that there's people out there that don't work within a CRM.
Yeah.
It just simplifies so much. It really does. I mean, there's so many different things you could do it. Like I could, you know, nerd out with somebody and talk about all the things. And a lot of times they're like, you can do this, you can do that. And there's not many limitations to it because there's always things that you can integrate with it to be able to do something else.
And then the fifth principle I put in there, Preston, was, and you actually hinted on it, but it's setting a dedicated time for follow-up every day. Don't just like, okay, well, I do prospecting from 9 to 10. Don't mix it in with your other prospecting. Go back through and I like that follow-up boss. The way we work is we kind of work from left to right.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're hitting like the tasks,
yeah,
right? Whether they be behavioral tasks or follow-up tasks that we created for ourselves. We do those first, right? That's prioritized. And then we get into other prospecting. And I think that's important because the follow-up piece are usually people you've already spoken to, right? They're already the people that you've kind of warmed up to a little bit. So you want to make sure you prioritize those conversations. I can't tell you how many times I look in CRMs, our CRM as a company all the time. And I look at, there's a lot of conversations that are missed by agents where they don't work the tasks.
Yeah.
And people are coming down in 2 weeks or a month.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is, like, real estate in general is so unpredictable.
Yep.
It is. I mean, so what's, to fight that is you make as much of it predicted, like prospecting can be predictable.
Right.
That morning schedule, if you keep a consistent schedule, do it over time, it'll compound on itself. One of the agents with us, Brendan, who's been buying the easy premium leads for a while now, he texts me, he's like, man, it's like somebody turned on threw gas on the fire. I'm like, yeah, it's one of those things. Like, yeah, I mean, if you do it for a month or two, those type of leads are not going to be the ones that are buying in 30 days.
Right.
You'll have some, very, very few, especially in this market.
Right.
But they're more the ones that you continue to nurture, you continue to build those relationships, like the other Travis was talking about, is, their average appointment set is 13 months, and those are pay-per-click leads. But and then you have the people, well, they're terrible leads, they're trash, which not really, because
they are if you stop calling them.
Yeah, any lead is going to be trash if you don't follow up, right? Yeah. So it's, is it a bad lead or is it bad follow up? 99% of the time it's bad follow up. But if you continue to stay consistent, and the same leads were, when we set up AdWords, which I talk about this with Cheplack Digital, when we set up AdWords accounts for teams across the country, our number one competitor in the ad world, ad space, pay-per-click space, is Zillow or Realtor.com.
Right.
So if the leads are that terrible, then why are they, running PPC ads to generate the same amount of leads or same type of leads?
Yeah, they're pretty big companies.
Yeah, for sure. Spend a little bit of money on advertising.
So those are the 5 principles of follow-up. And I just say this, I say all that, like, we did this episode mainly because, man, like, to win right now, this is a long nurture market.
Yeah.
Right. Like, a couple of years ago, we were order takers, right? Someone wanted to see a house, you had to get them there quick. Otherwise, you had multiple offers, all this good stuff. Now, that's not necessarily how it is right now in most markets. So that's why we wanted to talk about follow-up. Preston, you mentioned Travis, the other Travis. Talk about what you got going on him and Cheplack Digital, because I think it's pretty interesting for a lot of our audience.
Yeah, for sure. So, you're helping do the, ISA immersion. So Travis Alverson, he's with Okanocean. He has actually come on as a Cheplack Digital coach. So we launched a 16-week ISA. Well, we're calling it conversion coaching. Twice a month, he's getting on with groups and training ISAs or training agents or whatever on conversion. So managing a database and everything else is, he's done it at a high level. I mean, he's been an ISA, I think, for 6 years. Over the last 3 years, appointments he's set have resulted in over 300 closings. So that's a feat in itself.
We need to get him on this show.
Yeah, he was supposed to be on it. I can't remember what happened. Yeah. But yeah, he'll be on the show. Actually, we'll make that the next episode. We'll have baby Travis on.
Well, you're gonna need a replacement Travis for the next couple of weeks. God. I'm gonna be away for 3 weeks.
That's right. Where are you going?
I've talked about before. I'm an Army reservist. I have to go to an infantry training over the next 3 weeks up in Fort Pickett, Virginia.
So you're gonna be the old guy in the room,
I usually am.
or the old guy in the cabin? What do y'all
Yeah.
stay in? Barracks?
They're barracks. Yeah. I'm not sure I've never been to Fort Pickett, so we'll see.
I stayed in when I chaperoned the kids to Florida to Busch Gardens, I feel like we stayed in the barracks.
Yeah.
It was a bunk bed and the mattress was about maybe 4 inches thick. It's like made out of plastic almost.
Yeah.
So it was not very comfortable.
Yeah. No, I usually my nickname in the platoon I'm in right now actually is Old Man, and I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
But I usually am the old guy there. So that's fine. So you can get Travis on as a replacement, replace a fill-in for me while I'm gone. You guys are doing a Zoom call tomorrow as well, right?
Yeah, tomorrow at 5 Eastern. Yeah, 5 Eastern. We're doing a Zoom call, isachat.com. You could register. It's more to kind of talk about what he does on a daily basis and things he's seeing in the market and, provide value. And then we're going to go into, what the offer is going to be with the coaching program we're setting up.
Yeah. And Travis, he really is a talented guy around that. I've gotten to know him through you over the past few months. And I can tell you every conversation I have with him, he's one of those people you learn stuff from. It's like, well, that was he's like, he's a, I don't know, animated guy, funny. So you got to like really pay close attention because he like sneaks these little nuggets of value past you. And it's like, oh, actually, that's a good one.
Yeah. And he's very, very passionate about being an ISA. Like he's, I talked to him about coach. He's like, man, as long as I could set appointments in the morning from, 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. or 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. He's like, I got to be able to set appointments because that's, like he said, he got away from doing it as much. He was still obviously, but with the coaching and everything else, he was doing less of it. And he's like, man, I had to go back to making calls and doing all those things because I miss it. So and that's the beauty of it. He's passionate about that, and he, he's somebody that's trains based on experience, not based on theory. So he's doing it every day.
Yeah, you guys remind me a lot of each other because you do a lot of not trial and error. I don't think that's the right term, but you try stuff to see if it works, not just tell other people to go try it to see if it works.
Yeah, like throw it in the middle and you're like, what is this text messaging thing you have put on today?
Yeah. But to me, I enjoy it. I'm like, okay, well, you kind of like, and that's a good example of it. Like, okay, it works. Let me roll this out to the team.
It's always looking at seeing how we could become better. Like the Sisu thing is, hey, we use Google Sheets. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. We're putting data in twice, and you would think I would not be the one person that's doing that. So, and that's why we're going to bring that in. We eliminate some things, but it also makes the reporting better. It makes the platform better. It just makes it better for the agents too. They could log in and see what they've, all the information on what their sales and everything else. It's an expensive product, but I'm excited to add that in the mix for sure.
Jumping back to CRMs, I think that's what makes Follow Up Boss such a great CRM. I know we talk about Follow Up Boss all the time. We're friends of Follow Up Boss. We use it, but you can integrate all these other products that are not Follow Up Boss products, by the way. With Follow Up Boss makes their CRM very friendly to use all these other products with.
Yeah, they have an open API, so you can go in there and get their API data and build something that works within Follow Up Boss. If it doesn't have an integration, there's things like Zapier, and there's some other ones out there that you could actually connect pretty much anything into. Like right now with Easy Home Search, because of what we're doing and the marketing and everything we're doing, we're going to use HubSpot. But right now what I'm doing is I'm just any leads that are coming into Follow Up Boss, I just created a Zap to duplicate those leads and push them into HubSpot because I'm doing some testing on how leads come in and everything else. But Palms Realty will always use Follow Up Boss. We'll use it. We continue to use it for recruiting. So it's just strictly the real estate space. I mean, I don't believe there's a better alternative out there.
Yeah. If you want to learn more about it, we did one of our early episodes. We actually interviewed Dan Corcoran. Corkle. I always mess up his last name. Sorry, Dan. I think I did it in the episode even. But I think he has such a great story on how he started that company too. Just like he's and like to me, he's not like a real estate guy. He's like he just saw a need.
Yeah,
he researched it. Yeah, and like he just found that niche and just done a great job.
Yeah, I'm excited. They have their FubCon 2.0, which they're doing it every year. So FubCon, whatever, I guess they call it FoCon 23 or whatever it's going to be. That will be in the fall. So
Nice.
Excited about that.
Yeah, you went this past fall. It's funny, as we're talking and I messed up Dan's name, I got a follow-up boss notification. So
is it Dan?
It might be Dan. He might have heard me mess up his name. It's funny. All right, guys. Well, have a great rest of your day. Have a great week. I will see you in a few weeks. Preston, hopefully we'll have replacement Travis on for a couple weeks.
Yeah, I have replacement Travis on for at least 1 week. We're going to have to figure out who's going to do the beginning part. I might have to record you saying that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you got enough of them. All right, guys.
To the Process Podcast.
Yeah. Well, you keep practicing.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.